word as you may be comfortable as well. This is my third time journeying in this series. This is my third time dealing with the concept next level and telling the church what it is the Lord has been speaking into my spirit about us being sequestered. We are sequestered. We are called. We are called to another level. We are called to. Yeah. It's not something we lust after. It's not something. It's not something that we have zeal for only. Yeah. We are being called to another level.
Yeah.
So this is my third time dealing with it, and each time I had to deal with you heard me use this word, psychodynamics of our faith. I explained it Wednesday if you were here for Bible study. We're dealing concerning our mind, how we believe has to do with how we think.
Right.
What we believe, it has to do with how we're thinking. What are you thinking right now, this era of your life, this season of your life? What are the thoughts you're continuing to consider and entertain? What is the thought pattern? Do they need to be confronted and changed? Do they need to be built upon and developed? What are the thought patterns of your life? So the series is meant to challenge what your mind gravitates to. All right? And so now, in dealing with what your mind gravitates to, I dealt with three areas. And the first area is that we've been dealing with your environment, what surrounds you, your environment. We dealt with the environment. We dealt also with education. What surrounds you, environment, what you're being taught, education. And we also dealt with your experiences, which is what you go through. Amen? And so these three areas have the power to influence your mind. Amen? Amen. All right, so today we begin. And I want to open with a quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., a politician and poet. Very prolific statement he makes. He says, a mind that is stretched by a new experience. Everybody say new experience.
New experience.
He says, a mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions.
Wow. Amen.
A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimension. So then some things that we go through, some of the things that we go through are literally to teach us to never go back. And some of the things that we go through are to teach us never go back to what we came out of. Some of the things we go through is God training us and building us up so that we don't falter to the things that we used to falter. In other words, it is for our maturation. He's growing us up. Right? So then I dealt with this word in the first lesson of this series. I dealt with the word repeat. He says the test that you're ready for the next level is that you're not given to repeats. Remember, I gave the Latin word, or the Latin rendition of the word repeat is repetir. And what it means is to go back to. He says, don't go back to the things that I've brought you out of. Right? It is a slap in the face of God when God rescues us and then we find ourselves back in the lap of the very thing that we asked him to pull us out of. And so he says, now watch this now. He says, watch this. Because I dealt with John chapter 5. And of course, I'm doing some repeat, or some, not repeat, but bringing us up to date from the first lesson, since it's been a while since I preached that lesson. He says, remind us of the text that we opened the series with. And it was John chapter 5, the man that laid at the pool of Bethesda for 30 and 8 years. Remember? Now watch this. He says, consider what Jesus told the man. After Jesus healed the man, told him, rise, take up thy bed and walk. After Jesus healed the man, he told him, he says, sin no more. Catch this. Lest a worse thing come unto thee. I'm not going to be long. I'm rushing to a close already. He says, Jesus tells this man after he heals him, he says, sin no more, lest the worst thing come unto thee. Now, you know the Bible has to confirm the Bible, line upon line, concept upon concept. It has to do with substantiating systematically every truth. So when the Bible gives one truth in this era, in this place, Old Testament or New Testament, it's going to say it again somewhere else in order to substantiate its truth. Now, so then in Matthew chapter 12, verse 43, catch this. He says, when the unclean spirit is going out of a man, now, he healed the man in chapter 5 that was laying there for 38 years. And he says, go sin no more, lest the worst thing come upon you. Now, in Matthew 12, he's teaching the Pharisees. They are questioning him. He says, when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he said, I will return to my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. And they enter in, dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. Oh God. God is talking to somebody in this room right now saying you cannot afford to go back. Oh, I wish you stop hearing the voice of Gerald T. Crawford and hear the voice of God right now. He says you can't afford to go back. Because some of us right now are dealing with a worse thing. Some of you right now listening to me, you cannot even get into the spirit of this message because you're dealing with a worse thing. While others may shout, while others may praise and worship God, oh God, hilariously, you have an issue, you have a heaviness about you because you're dealing with a worse thing. Not in comparison to what somebody else is dealing with, in comparison to what God has already delivered you from, because you find yourself going back to Egypt when He's brought you out. You're dealing with a worse thing. So now we need to look at a few things. He says, now look at today's text. In today's text, the pericope and the texture of this lesson